How you guys doing? Yes, we've got an interesting topic today, and more importantly, a potential fix to a problem many people in the community are voicing, and to be honest, I've even felt it, as you guys have seen in the latest Mightiest Empire against Server 35, and it's just basically the PvP situation right now, right? This is any major empire, let's be honest, that are fighting T8 players. Any T8 in the game against the T7 just feels absolutely broken. Like, it's not even a close contest anymore. And this is literally like 95% of the player base that are T7, while this small 5% literally get to run rampant, get to do whatever they want, and it's just honestly not fun for everyone. And the large majority of everyone, you know what I'm saying? So what we're going to do is kind of talk about it in today's video, and I'm going to also propose, obviously, to the devs and you guys to see if you like this idea, is a way we could potentially fix this without doing some extreme craziness with the game, because I know we've had suggestions like locking T9 and all of that, but we can see that's probably not going to be on the agenda. That's not going to be the plan. So let's not hope for something. Let's try and think of another idea to fix this, and that's what we're going to go over in today's video. So smash like, comment, and subscribe. Let's dive in, and hopefully the devs, you're watching this because this should be a nice little potential video for you, right? Because at the moment, no matter what, if you're playing Desolate Desert, Golden Expedition, or Mightiest Empire, if you are fighting people with T8, you are, no matter what, getting destroyed. And that is just because you got to think, when we look at even just the base attributes of units on archers, you can see how much more you're going to get overall. It's between, I think, 30% or 40% increase. Someone has done the maths. It's a really good spreadsheet which showcases each level of actual growth per stat. And then there's your tech on top of that, what we're going to go over, right? But you got all of this, right? Extra stats that we're going to go against, right? No matter what, as a T7 player versus a T8. But in order to get there, you got to remember those same players have gone to their military research, right? And as a T7 player, and this is what catches a lot of people out too, which they don't mention, you could be T7 and you could be pushing down this right, side here, but you're probably still only in this maybe first attack area. Maybe you're in the fourth, defense here, potentially. But you need to get through all of this, and you need to get through this, and then you get to choose what T8. And you got to remember, all of that is stats. So if the spenders, as they have, got the T8 first, which they did, and they've got all these extra bonuses on top of having the unit as well, that's where things are getting a little bit out of hand. And honestly, everyone, no matter what you are, you could have even been a pretty good player. If you're going against a T8 unlock and you was a pretty good player, you're generally getting slapped now, and you need to be an exceptional T7 player to go against a T8 that might be more mediocre compared to some of the ones that many people have gone against and many people have seen, which are more like maxed player accounts and more near to max player accounts, right? So how can we fix this situation, right? Because it is, let's be honest, a shit one. It's a little bit of a shit one because everyone wants to play Age of Empires Mobile. Everyone, even when it was such a big power gap, was still having fun with their Lubus out there, right? Killing stuff and actually doing a shit ton of damage. People were enjoying their Cyruses out there, even as a T7 player, because guess what? Everyone was T7 too, which made the game fair and made people really enjoy the progression and even the field fighting that they had to their display. So the only way I can think of actually thinking of, fixing this situation and getting back to that fun where people at the right power levels can have fun with each other is as easy as it says, matchmaking, right? It's the number one thing in the game that honestly has the user experience at its mercy. Does it want to give you good matchmaking, or does it want to give you bad matchmaking? And what we've seen, and even our Empire doing really good in our Stellar Glory season, when we're going against Empire like Empire 35, and a big shout to those guys, and you can check it out even on the channel's live stream tabs when we went against them recently on the last weekend. We had the numbers, and obviously we had some really good numbers, but guess what? They just had better quality because they had more T8 players, and a lot more T8 was able to fill the ICs, and because they got more T8 in the IC, it's just so honestly impossible now to take it back. And that's how it just is at the moment. It is honestly the biggest kind of wallet gap we've ever actually seen in the game, which needs to be addressed. So how can we do it through matchmaking? Well, you got to remember, when it comes to migration in the game, we have server power rankings and levels for a reason. And the thing is, at the moment, we basically have one extra power level, which is like up here, which is like the top, I think, 20% of the servers. And then you kind of got like everyone else, right, that's in the game. And if you're in that everyone else pile, it is okay, but it's not the greatest either, right? Let's be real. And if you're in the top 20%, it is a little bit fucking savage. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a little bit fucking savage. So what we could do in matchmaking, and it's to do with the power levels of empires, we could structure the tiers in one way with two kind of objectives in them. The first one, as many people have seen, is how they kind of do it already with the power of your empire and obviously the activity level of that. That should be one of the first things that gets put into matchmaking. But the second one, if you've not guessed it, should be how many T8 are in that empire. Because the thing is, no matter what, if you have an empire with like 20 T8s or 15 T8s, and you go against an empire with 5, that 5 honestly has no chance. You literally are either 2 or 3 or 4 to 1 to them. And especially if you are stronger as a T8 player versus them, it starts to get really out of hand. So what I honestly think they should start to structure this, and especially when it comes into matchmaking, is looking at the Empire's T8 unlocks and matching empires that are as close as possible in those unlocks. Meaning, if you've got 18 players, you should go against other empires that have like 18 or maybe 16 or maybe 20, right, where you got a plus or minus of 2, maybe 3 players that might not or may have extra T8. And I think if they do that, it allows them again to restructure all of the empires right now into the correct brackets, into the correct tiers. Because what you could have then is your tier 1, let's just say, like your tier 1 up here, even though this is Stellar Glory, ignore that. We could have our tier 1 empires, right? And these are empires that might have like 15 or 20 plus, maybe, you know, T8s inside of them, right? And you can check the data and find out what is the highest ones on average and put that as the number, right? You could put tier 2 empires now as maybe those empires that have, like, again, maybe 10 T8s going up to maybe 15 T8s, right? And then that's that bracket threshold. So you've got, again, a bit more fair competition in there. Then you could have tier 3 empires, which might have 5, you know, of these guys to 10. And then you've got your tier 4s, which is basically people that have 0 up to 5 maybe T8 players. And then you could go up to tier 5, which is just 0-0, and that could be another option where maybe tier 4 is actually 5 to 1, and then this is just purely 0. So if you're just a T7 player, you can go into tier 5 empires, and they could be super powerful empires still, but they only have T7s, and that's the whole matchmaking. They're just T7 only gameplay, right? I think this would be a really clever way to structure it out. And it kind of fixes the problem then, because yes, if you're like me, and yes, you're in a big empire, maybe like 35 and 9 and 27, right, in your 40s, and you name it, right, there's a lot of really powerful empires out there. Let's be real, there's a lot of powerful empires out there with T8s, right? But if you are match-made against someone with the same plus or minus, 2 or 3 T8s than you, it feels A, better because it's a bit more competitive, B, it is fairer for all the players that are in there, and then for everyone else, it starts to restructure and get the fun back in the game. Because if the wallet spenders want to spend, let them spend. But guess what? You should let them fight each other, and let's really see who's got the biggest wallet. Let's really see who's got the ego to absolutely demolish someone. Let's see that, right? Because if you guys want ego and you want to run over people, you will do it to anyone, right? It shouldn't be the philosophy in Age of Empires Mobile it's acceptable to be like a T8 player, and your job is to literally just zero cities and to just literally focus on the T7 troops and not do anything else, even around like sieging machines and stuff like that. Like, it's just sad, man. Like, if you're a T8, to me, fight T8 players. Sure, you're the biggest dick on the field, and stop trying to get free merits as many people tend to do with them, right? So that's kind of like my little video here. A little suggestion: restructure the way empires are allocated. So we've got our imperial empires. We can have A seed, B seed, C seed, and maybe D seeds, and each one of these seeds has an X amount of T8 to the plus or minus to allow, a little bit easier in matchmaking and a bit of variety in matchmaking, right, as well, and see what happens, right? Because at the moment, if we just continue, especially playing and matchmaking empires only based on their overall power, it's not going to work out. Because you can see like empires, even like, for example, let's just go to an extreme, like a 266 that has the most Taiwanese players on. They could go against some of the strongest empires in the entire game. But if they only have like 3, 4, maybe 5 T8 players and everyone else has got 15 plus, it doesn't matter how many T7 bodies they've got, they ain't gonna get through it. The T8 players will just eat them alive and honestly have the biggest whale feeding we'll have ever seen in history, right? So let's try, and maybe you guys down below in the comment section can suggest maybe something similar, a way to restructure the power mechanics and the empire power mechanics when it comes to matchmaking. So then we can get all the T8 players can kind of go against each other. The guys that are low in T8 can kind of go against each other. The guys that have got 0 T8 and they're only T7s, guess what? They can go against each other. And then over time, as an empire, as you're growing up, as you're building up, as your players playing the game, and you finally get this one stellar season where okay, we've got 10, 20 players about to unlock T8, you can prepare for it, and you're going to go up into a bracket, and you're going to get new enemies and new empires to face, right? And it's going to be really interesting. So that's what I think. Let me know if you like the idea or not. Obviously, the devs can take this too and listen, and if they choose to or not. But I'm going to also post this as a suggestion in the Discord so that they also can see this. But let me know. Let me know your thoughts down in the description down below on today's video. And if you've enjoyed it, you know what to do, guys. Smash like, comment, and subscribe. It's been a pleasure. And until the next one, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.